Bloomberg Markets Rules and Returns. I'm Naira Chehich at Bloomberg's European headquarters in London. Now, the full effect from MiFID II has yet to be felt. That's according to Paris-based financial services firm Kepler Chevreux, who specialise in research and advisory. The regulation has forced brokers to charge for analysis, and the firm says there's been a very clear trend as a result. Institutional investors have been cutting down on the number of research providers. So how else is MiFID II affecting firms and analysts? Joining me now from New York is Frank Mitsch, Senior Managing Director at Fermium Research. Frank, great to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us. So you were a Managing Director and Senior Analyst at Wells Fargo. You jumped ship to set up your own shop. Was this as a direct result of MiFID II?
MiFID II certainly had a large part to do with it, yes. It's one of these situations where after 20 years or so on the sell side, I thought that it would make sense for me to become an independent research provider to more effectively service the institutional investors, or more importantly, more cost-effectively service the institutional investors. I think in part of your teaser, you talked about how firms are cutting back on the number of research providers. So I think the institutional clients are going more towards quality and experience, and bulge brackets are going to have a more difficult time, particularly with revenues. I think year to date are down 30% if you believe the FT. And so coming off on my own, along with my associate, and partnering with a company that does the back office end, I thought made some sense. So wasn't the easiest of decisions to leave Wells Fargo after a number of years, but so far so good.
Yeah, not the easiest of decisions, but how easy is it for you now to find clients willing to pay for your services?
Knock on wood, my clientele has been terrifically supportive, and we're already generating revenues. As I said, I partnered with a firm that provides the back and middle office called Analyst Hub, and they provide the compliance and regulatory backstop, so I don't have to deal with that. And they're also working with the broker liaison people at our customers. And frankly, it's been more seamless than I thought it would be. So for that, I'm very grateful.
Frank, you've mentioned Analyst Hub, the firm that you're partnered with, and you've explained that they do a lot of the back office work. Explain to me how this setup is actually different from you being in the front office of a Wall Street bank with the back office working with you.
Well, clearly the bulge brackets and the brokerage firms and so forth provided that service for me as well. Although my time and attention was not 100% dedicated to the institutional investors as it is today. Certainly, I had various calls on my time, whether it be from investment banking, whether it be from the retail stockbrokers at the firm, whether it be from the C-suite and some of the issues that they would want me to address. Now I am just able to focus entirely on doing the sort of research that I've been doing for 20+ years, along with my associate, and have Analyst Hub provide everything in the back very cost effectively, I might say, versus what the overheads that you would find from a major bulge bracket or brokerage firm would have. So I do believe that, and I think that's why we have been gaining traction with our institutional clients, and they are willing to write the checks and support quality, experienced research, continued access to management, and frankly, I've been very pleased with how the companies that I follow, their CEOs and CFOs are saying, hey, Frank, look, we want to do business with you and work with you. It doesn't matter if you're part of a major firm or as part of your own independent entity, Fermium Research.
Frank, is the research that you now provide to institutional clients different for what you provided when you worked on Wall Street, either quantitatively or qualitatively?
I would say that it perhaps might be a little edgier than I was as part of a larger shop that had much more interests to look after. But frankly, my access to the industry sources of information that I've used before, that hasn't changed at all. And so, frankly, I don't believe that there's been a material change other than the fact that perhaps I'm a little freer to express my opinions than perhaps I had been in the past, which I think most of the institutional investors are appreciating.
Interesting. So, Frank, do you think that what you're doing and the model of Analyst Hub or any other businesses similar to it in the future could pose a real threat to Wall Street?
Listen, I think that quality, experienced analysts are going to have to look seriously at doing what I'm doing, and others have done what I'm doing as well. So I'm not exactly a huge trailblazer here, but certainly with MiFID having the impact that it has on the revenue side of things, let's face it, the work-life balance at the major firms and the cutbacks in revenues and the squeezing down of T&E budgets and what have you is going to have a serious impact on what others do. And knock on wood, the more successful myself and some of the other analysts who are partnered with Analyst Hub become, I think you will see a change happen here. There's no doubt that the number of sell-siders in the future is going to be much less than it is today, and so whether or not the major firms go towards using less experienced / cheaper sell-siders to try and match their budgets of the future and try and compensate for their levels of overhead, I think that's the way that we're going to go. So early returns, in my personal opinion, have been very positive. All systems go.
All systems go. Thank you so much, Frank Mitsch, Senior Managing Director at Fermium Research. Great to have you join us from New York.